Hey, I'm going to show an example of solving an algebraic expression using multiplication, but it's a division problem. So there's just a few things I need to know before I can do that. When we have an algebraic expression and there's a variable, our goal is to identify which numbers represent the variable. So in other words, we just need to figure out what the variable is. We're always going to be running from the variable two sides of the equal sign. If our variable's on the left side, we want everything on the left side to go to the right side. And I'll explain that in just a second. We need to know our inverse or opposites. The inverse of addition is subtraction. The inverse of multiplication is division. We need to use our inverse line or the opposite line, and I'll show you where that is in just a second. We need to solve for the variable, and then we can check our work afterwards using substitution. So that way we'll know if our answer is correct or if it's not correct as soon as we're finished. So I have m over 2 equals 14, or m divided by 2, however I want to say it. What I have to do here, I first need to put my inverse line. So my inverse line is going to go straight down the equal sign. Here's the inverse line. Inverse means opposite. So if I'm dividing here and I want to move over here, I'm going to have to multiply. So in one of my classes, we said that our variables have Ebola, and we need to get all of our numbers away from the variable with Ebola because they don't want it either. So if m has Ebola and we're trying to run from m, we need the 2 to go to the other side of the equal sign. Well, here we're dividing by 2, and the inverse of division is multiplication. So instead of dividing by 2, I'm going to have to multiply by 2 to get it to the other side. And if I multiply the left side of my equal sign by 2, I also have to multiply, the right side. So 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. Oops, that's not right. It's the same thing as 2 over 1. So this is going to cancel out, leaving me with 1m. Alright, and 1m is the exact same thing as m. So here I just have my variable, and then it has equals. So m equals whatever 14 times 2 is. 14 times 2 is going to be 28. So our answer is going to be 28. I think the answer is 28, but I can check it just to make sure. So the way I check this is using substitution. I'm going to take this same exact problem, m divided by 2 equals 14, and in place of my variable, I'm going to put the number that I came up with, 28. Alright? So two sides of the equal sign, I have the right side, which is 14. It's going to stay 14 because I'm not adding or subtracting or doing anything to it. And then I have the right side, and that's 28 divided by 2. So I'm actually going to work this out just to make sure my brain's not messing with me or anything. 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. When I subtract, I get 0. Bring down my 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. When I subtract, I get 0. I don't have any more numbers to bring down. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. Does 14 equal 14? Yes, it does. So that means that the variable m does equal 28.